Vanakkam, Namaste, Namaskaram. I am going to talk about importance of regulatory systems for engineering profession in India. My name is Sanna Ratnavel, member, Board of Governors, Engineering Council of India, New Delhi. I am also Director, Professional Ethics, Structural Engineering World Congress. I was also National President, Association of Consulting Civil Engineers between 2017 and 19. I am a senior professional engineer registered in Engineering Council of India. I am a consultant in large-scale systems planning and infrastructure, Enviro geotech consultant. This is our family deity, blessings of secular. God answers in three ways. He says yes and gives you what you want. He says no and gives you something better. He says wait and gives you the best. What do you mean by regulatory systems? Is it a law, rule, or other order prescribed by authority, especially to regulate conduct? The act of regulating or the state of the being regulated. Why do you have regulatory bodies? The goal of professional regulation is to reduce the risk of harm to the public while maximizing the well-being of clients. The professional regulation is not to make somebody as a monopoly for the particular domain in practice, but it is to monitor the particular registered professional whether he is doing harm to the public or whether he is competent. The basic process of public protection through a professional body. So, the aim of regulatory body and its process is to protect the public from the action of the professionals. What is the meaning of professional standards? The main purpose of professional standards is to direct and maintain safe and professionally competent practice. These standards are important to any profession because they promote and guide the professionals with values and ethics for better productivity. What is values? Values are about character and spirit. Standards define the professional actions and behavior. Values are specific beliefs about what is important and unimportant, good, bad, right, and wrong. Values form the basis of how professionals make judgments and decisions about all they do and they don't do. Regulatory systems will address governing factors of individuals' value system, social status, cultural status, economic status, political situation, linguistic pattern, religious components, environmental factors, geographic location, demographic traits, technology, peer group, past experiences. Objectives of the regulatory system. Why need professional ethics? The objectives of professional ethics are to understand the moral values that ought to guide the engineering profession, any profession, to resolve the moral issues in the profession and to justify the moral judgment concerning the profession. A person's personal ethics are revealed in a professional situation through his behavior. Features of professional ethics: refrain from causing harm to others, be benevolent or good to others, be a well wisher to others, respect individual freedom, ensure justice to all without discrimination, respect law and code of conduct, follow noble practices like honesty, integrity, truthfulness, etc., free and fair to all, practice non-violence, help the people in need, help the poor. These ethics make employees responsible. Features of professional ethics: openness, transparency, privacy, impartial, practical and unbiased, loyal, cooperative, objective oriented. Professional ethics versus personal ethics. It is comparison chart. It is a personal ethics and professional ethics. Usually this personal ethics is defined, includes your personal values and moral qualities incorporated by family, friends, surroundings since your childhood. Examples: honesty, care and sincerity. Not conforming to this may harm or hurt others. Your personal needs are satisfied by following these. These are all personal ethics. What are professional ethics? Rules imposed on an employee in a company or as member of profession. Example: doctor, lawyer, engineers, all these things. Learned when you are a part of professional setting or when you are being trained or educated for working there. Examples: no gossiping. It is very important. Very sorry to say, nowadays across the country in India, people who have graduated in engineering degree, they are very good in gossiping only. They never speak in the forum or in any meeting, but group of people join together, they do lot of gossiping. This I have observed it. It is very sad to engineering profession. This is only collapsing the total effort taken by the senior people and honest people and very good competent engineers. This is very important. So time management is important, punctuality is important, confidentiality is important, transparency is. So these are all professional ethics, and you should not adhering to these may harm your professional reputation. So when you do this gossiping, when you don't maintain time management, when you are not punctual, when you are not maintaining confidentiality, when you are transparency, what it will do? It will harm your reputation. Based on this thing, you can judge about your reputation, what reputation you are having in the society. Your professional needs are satisfied by following these. List of reasons why engineers want to achieve recognized professional standing, nationally or internationally through regulations. It has become very important in the contemporary world. People hold the degrees are not professionals unless otherwise they are attentive to unless otherwise they realize the responsibility and accountability. And if they don't realize the accountability and responsibility, they will definitely create negative impact in the society in their professional actions. In order to control that, in order to identify those kind of professionals, we have created this regulation and legislation. If all the professionals they are accountable and responsible while they are discharging their duties, definitely this regulation and legislation is not at all required. But it is very difficult to have very noble altruist professionals in all professions. All degree holders are not professionals, but in order to make all the degree holders as a professionals, this regulation and registration system is introduced across the world. To become registered and capable of doing or signing off particular engineering work, this is often covered by legislation. The main reason for regulation via registration are where the engineering work affect public safety or where the recipient of engineering work has little or no engineering knowledge. The latter reason is common to many professions and is sometimes called asymmetry of knowledge. The client knows much less than the professional and needs protection. To do any work requiring an engineer in those countries where the title engineer is legally protected. If your title is protected, what does it mean? That means you are a competent engineer. That is why these titles are protected. To use it in an immigration application for which an internationally recognized degree may be prerequisite for engineering work. Nowadays, because of GOTS and WT work, there is a cross-border migration is there, export of services is there. So there, in order to use this title, when you are taking immigration applications, and if you have the common systems and procedure, it will be more helpful to identify the professionals from one country to another country when you cross the border. When individual engineers want the personal satisfaction of knowing they have achieved a certain standard. See, in the absence of regulatory system, what happens? To every client, we have to go and talk about our credentials, what we achieved, what we have done, all these things. But if we have mechanism in place, you don't have to do that. Once you register with the particular organization, indirectly it says that means you are competent. So it will help the engineer to market himself when he have registration and regulation mechanism. They also avoid having to assert their competence or having to justify it with each new employer or client. Companies want to measure their engineers in an independent system. Governments and companies can satisfy themselves that companies have the appropriate intellectual capital and human resources to complete engineering project. Development and funding agencies can satisfy themselves that the engineering human resource risk of funding engineering project is acceptable. Professional standing includes a commitment to practice ethically and competently. Managers, banks, and insurance companies want to reduce engineering risk. Specific skills are identified in professional recognition which may not be clear from the engineer's qualification title or main discipline. To work in disaster relief, work in certain industries like nuclear power, engineering that are becoming more regulated. The original list has grown with conflicts and the engineering skills crisis still affecting migrations. Lifelong learning. It is very important. It is pleasing to say that many mobility stakeholders are discussing and planning for lifelong learning. A good degree provides the foundation for an engineering career, but continuing professional development is needed to maintain and evolve capabilities. To ensure this happens, CPD outcomes must be measured in a whole of career process. The 5 potential stages of an engineering career. The model makes a distinction between career development pathways that involve technical deepening, gaining more engineering knowledge so that more complex engineering problems can be tackled, and development of management capability, developing skills to take responsibility or more than one's own activities. The model makes it clear that a technical deepening is not necessary to progress in management, but acknowledges that management and leadership skills are needed in both streams. The 5 potential career stages can be generally described as follows. What are the stages? Stage 1, graduate attributes. People call it graduate attributes, graduate development. Engineers in the period after entering the profession who redeveloping competence for independence practice under supervision. Stage 2, independent practice. It is a professional attributes. Engineers who are competent to practice independently. This is benchmarked against the relevant competence standard and evidenced by competence-based membership and registration. There are two things. One is graduate attributes, another one is professional attributes. Actually, in between the graduate attributes and professional attributes, in between only there is a training period. That is a stage 1. Before that, graduate attribute is taken care of by technical education regulations. Then professional attributes, the training comes there. After that, independence practice comes there. All these things are taken care of by regulatory systems. I am very proud. Engineering Council of India started its registration, I think it is in 2015. We have got more than 4,000 engineers in a registered list. This is the first time in India. I am proud that we have conducted more than 700 CPD program. Large number of professionals they have attended. Still they are trying to maintain the CPD for their renewal. The 5 years is going to come, and many people are every day they are looking for CPD program recognized by Engineering Council of India. Stage 3, team leadership. Engineers taking overall responsibility for the work of a team in their most expert. Stage 4, technical management. Engineers supervising the work of others who may have greater or wider competence. Stage 5, general management. Engineers who are involved in management at an organization level and may no longer directly involved with technical engineering activities. To facilitate lifelong learning, we need certification of CPD and accredited advanced studies. Whole of career attributes. recognition of the life cycle of learning knowledge, labeling for unregulated as we as well as regulated professional engineers. Actually, here I want to say something. CPD is very important. In some countries, people have imposed examination for PE recognition. Okay, I agree with that. But I am having different opinion, and also I express this thing in the international forum when I travel across the countries. In all forums when I travel abroad, I used to mention CPD is more important than examination, because there is a one phrase I have learned from the top level eminent entrepreneurs and successful entrepreneurs. The future of education is nothing but how to unlearn and how to relearn. So whatever we learned in the past, it has to be unlearned, and we have to relearn, because the change is permanent, and every day the science and technology, it's giving new arena, new kind of technology. So here the CPD is playing vital role. What is certain is that current future planning scenarios may well not occur, but if we don't develop cooperative forward looking education and training plans for all concerned, we won't be able to respond to whatever scenarios do emerge at a national and global level. Conclusions. It is clear that improvements in engineering education and training are needed in the engineering sector. They should be implemented despite the continuing effects of global financial crisis and the continuing skill shortages. Key stakeholders continue to need well qualified, up-to-date, competent professional engineers to provide engineering services and products across national level. We must recognize different needs in many state jurisdictions and regions, encouraging aspirational goals and appropriate standards for accreditation and competence. Sufficient engineers are still not being trained. The problem is exacerbated by migration, leakage of graduates into other professions, and demographic factors. The engineering workforce is aging and often retiring early. Natural leakage will always occur, transferring some engineering knowledge, which could be seen as a positive. If leakage is due to negative aspects of the profession, it should be examined and addressed. In this context, young engineers need to be offered a whole of career opportunity with the necessary standards and training available and labeled at each stage. Making use of regulatory mechanism, an engineer could sell his competency with high self-esteem. One side, I am very happy that many professional bodies, they are doing the job in promoting the young graduates. But in Indian history, all professional societies, they have done a good job in CPD. But in the absence of a mechanism, it was not, you know, it has not become a significant one. But the contribution by the professional societies, we must appreciate. But when in the presence of mechanism, the contribution of professional societies will be recognized in future. That is why making use of regulatory mechanism, an engineer could sell his competency with high self-esteem. Valuable input of regulatory councils. Representing the profession nationally to member associations and partner organizations and other key international agencies, providing information and learning materials for all stakeholders, providing a forum for discussion and participating in conference discussions through approved CPD programs, webinars. If we can work these ends, the profession will also make a bigger and better. If we can work to these ends, this profession will also make a bigger and better contribution to engineering activity across globe, helping to build capacity, balance economic development, respond to natural disasters, improve health, and mitigate the impacts of climate change. Also, an engineer reputations will fly high. Thank you very much for your patient hearing, dear friends. Strong minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, weak minds discuss people. This is Socrates. Thank you very much.